Hola, my friends. I hope you're all well and that you had a wonderful weekend. Welcome to my new digs. Pete and I have officially moved in with my parents while we do works on our home. So you will be seeing me in different environments from now on. But anyway, welcome to this week's theme of the week. So this week we are speaking about navigating arguments in relationships. And why are we speaking about this? So first of all, you guys asked for this. It's something that we can all relate to. Relationships are not always easy, right? I mean, that's what we can all, I think, agree on. Relationships are not always easy. We misunderstand each other. We get into arguments. We hurt each other. And sometimes we can end up thinking that the relationship is wrong, that we're in the wrong relationship, when in reality we're just caught in a pattern of arguments that we need to break, we need to become aware of, we need to break, and we need to come back together and connect. So I'm going to give you some tips on how to do this. So first of all, you want to recognize the pattern. Now, what do I mean when I'm speaking about a pattern? So as a couple, we can end up getting into these funny sort of relationship argument patterns. For example, you might find yourself in the pattern of find the bad guy. So you and your partner are both sort of pointing out, you did this and you did that, and you're basically putting the blame on each other and wanting the other person to take responsibility for what happened. That's a pattern that you can refer to as find the bad guy. Then there's another pattern where one partner is pursuing the other, kind of like, hey, like we need to spend time together, or you're never around, or blah, 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 blah. And the other partner is withdrawing and basically just going into themselves, not speaking much, kind of just pushing away, right? That's another pattern that a lot of people find themselves in. Another pattern that can happen is when the pursuing partner gives up and withdraws, and then you're both withdrawing. And that's quite an advanced stage. That's like when your relationship is really sort of like in trouble, when neither of you is trying to connect anymore. So what's important is that you recognize the pattern, right? It's less about what you're arguing about. So it's less about the content, like, you said this to me and that is what hurt me, or, you make me do this or whatever. It's less about the content and it's more about the pattern that you find yourself in. So it's important to notice when you're in the pattern and to step out of it. And how do you step out of it? You take a break, right? You press pause, you take a breath, you take space from each other, you go for a walk, you come back later when you're calmer. Next tip. My next tip is to remember that all arguments are bids for connection. So even though arguments suck, like when you're in an argument, it sucks and it's really unpleasant, right? And you always wish that you were getting along and not in this argument. All arguments are bids for connection. So we don't argue because we're difficult. We argue because we're saying, hey, I need you to pay attention to something. I need you to tune into something. And your partner's saying the exact same thing to you. So what's important is that you tune in with your partner, right? And what happens here very often is that our egos get in the way. And we say, like, I'm not tuning in until he's tuning in. Like, well, if that's what your attitude's going to be, then you're going to have a hard time finding each other again, because, somebody needs to tune in. And typically what you'll find is that when you tune in, and by tune in, I mean compassionately listen to your partner with curiosity, like wanting to understand what upset you, what made you angry, what did I do? Like, kind of, please explain it to me so that I can understand, so that I won't do it again, or so that we can, I can explain where I was coming from, or, we can find a way to connect again. So remember that all arguments are bids for connection, and then tune in and understand. And when you tune in and understand, show your partner that you've understood, right? Tell them, so what I'm hearing you say is, that when I speak to you this way, it makes you feel like I don't appreciate the things you do, for example. And then you can ask, how could I do it differently? What would you prefer? Like, give me like a concrete example kind of thing. So you can build upon it. My next tip is to be a friend, right? So remember that you're on the same team. If you approach each other where you're arguing from a space of, I'm right, you approach your partner from a space of total self-righteousness, you're gonna sort of enter it where one of you's trying to win and the other one, so that the other one can lose and take all the blame. Well, if that happens, you both lose. If one of you loses, you both lose, because the other one ends up with resentment and it creates distance between you. So what's important is that you ask yourself, am I arguing or am I seeking out my partner to be correct, or am I seeking out my partner to connect? And always choose the path of connection. Now, some people get a bit scared when they think about being compassionate and they think about sort of tuning in with their partner, because they think that means they're going to end up taking all the blame. No, an argument is co-created. So you can tune in and you can own responsibility for what you've done, and you can be compassionate with your partner, and at the same time you can then communicate your needs to your partner. You can communicate what upset you. You can communicate what made you angry, what you need from them. And it is your partner's responsibility to tune in with you as well, right? You can't make this work if you are the only person tuning in and owning responsibility. If the other person is allowing you to hold all the responsibility, that's total bullshit, and you need to talk about that. There's a really, really good book about the patterns that we get stuck in as couples, called Hold Me Tight by Dr. Sue Johnson. And this book was a total game changer for me. I read it about 10 years ago when Pete and I started dating, and it made a real difference to our relationship. Because obviously we've gotten stuck in these patterns, and we used to get stuck in these patterns even more. Now we can notice when we're in a pattern much quicker and step out of it quicker. Doesn't mean we never get into the pattern again. Of course we do, especially when we're under stress and we go into fight or flight. But at least we can notice it quicker and step out of it quicker, and we can heal the relationship. And that's what allows us to keep growing. So I found this book really helpful. Another thing that could help you with this is lifestyle strategy sessions. So with lifestyle strategy sessions, we will help you to notice the kind of patterns that you and your partner get stuck in. We will also help you we will guide you as to how to become unstuck, how to communicate your needs, how to build the connection again so that you can grow together and create a really fulfilling relationship. Now, we don't offer couple sessions, but we offer individual sessions, and I find this even more impactful. When you're doing your own work, you bring your best self to the relationship, and that is what makes a massive, massive difference.